What's up, North County? I'm your host, Randy Doty, and today we have two special guests with us. We have Bill Luton, which is a local artist, a worship pastor at Highlands Church, and we also have the pastor of Highlands Church with us, James Baird. Welcome.
Hey.
Did I do that right?
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good. Just a little hiccup.
Bill and James.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I'm really excited about this.
Love your show. It's so good.
Oh, we appreciate that. I'm glad you guys watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now that makes three.
Yeah.
No, but so tell me your guys' story. So, James, you are the pastor at Highlands. Highlands Church is there, located on Niblick and South River Road, right?
That's right. Yep. Right there. Been hanging out, just opening the doors. Anybody that wants to come in. People always come to that church, and they always walk away with the sense that it's really friendly and welcoming for everyone. And that was our dream come true. When we were actually, dreaming of who God would bring to our church for a worship pastor, because you go through this process, who will it be? And one of the things we wrote in the description, I'm sure Bill remembers, we haven't talked about it, was
I don't know if I've read
a place where people with hats and tats feel comfortable.
Oh,
nice. And it's so true. It's just home for me. It's cool to be a pastor of a church where you'd say, you know what, if I was not the pastor and I was just looking for a church, I'd go to this church. I'd really enjoy it, and I'd want to be there all the time. And honestly, it's the most important thing people always say is not even the worship music, not the preaching. All that stuff is great, but it's the people. And I think that's just our area. I'm in love with this area. I'm in love with the people. I call it salt of the earth, or as we know it, good people, right?
Well, and that's kind of a great statement, is because, had I just walked and found, met you guys on the street, I would never ever put a church and you guys together.
I've heard that before.
But that's the important. That's the part, that really gets people to buy into it or accept it, and you know what I'm saying? It's not that like a normal pastor, I envision somebody different, worship pastor, I envision somebody different, and it's like, you guys don't fit that normal mold, which is important, because as we grow and different groups come together, everybody's from different walks of life, and you can't have one path.
And that's what we kind of need to do, is kind of shatter the idols that we've created. Sometimes those idols are people, and I know that sounds like, but we have these illusions of what life is like, right? We look in the mirror and we're like, I don't look like a dad, right?
Sure.
Or, you can always you're always questioning yourself and your own legitimacy. And it's so cool to just go, oh, one day you look in the mirror and go, oh, I am a dad, and I'm pretty good at it. And that means being goofy and, just coming with all your flaws and all your faults. And I think that's just that's actually a greater witness to people, to be authentic and, show your warts and let people know who you really are. Because invariably there's somebody else out there that likes the same kind of music you do, that, has goofy thoughts like you do. And that person is a person you can connect with. And so when we start to hide all that stuff, I kind of feel like we miss our opportunity to do our greatest blessing, do our greatest work in the world.
Yeah, you don't want to be fake.
Yeah,
right,
absolutely.
That's the main thing. Just like stop trying to act like we have it all together, because we don't.
Yeah.
That's not how it works.
So, Bill, you which I just found out, so you're pretty new to this area.
Yeah.
Here recently with the church.
Mm-hmm. Right. So I was up in the Seattle area and moved here about mid-June and got kicked off at Highlands right in the first week of July. So hadn't been too long.
So did you know that you were coming down to Highlands, or did you just stumble upon Highlands? How did that relationship?
Yeah, Highlands stumbled on me a little bit. So I was actually literally on the way back from Uganda, from a trip to Africa. And I was sick. My brother and I, he played drums for me on tour and in Uganda too. And we both came down with whatever was going around in the Seattle area before we went to Africa. And so my family was sick while I was gone. I was sick while I was there. So much goop in my eyes I could barely see, right? So the first email I got from him, I had to just mark it. I was like, let me just look at this later. I was on a plane. I could barely see. And basically, it was just kind of a reach out saying, hey, I've seen some of your stuff, and I think we might have a fit here. Are you open to exploring it? And I was, so we did.
Wow, it just so happened to, I mean, like you always, things just come together when the time's right.
That's right.
And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? And what I find is so cool, and you think about the world we live in, there are people who will be, tuning into this from Uganda, right? There will be a whole little posse from Uganda of the nicest, coolest people that Bill has gotten to know. And it's an amazing story, what you've done over there with your brother and with some of your friends, actually helping to, I'm going to try to tell your story, but helping to record some of the music. So they had this idea of going over to Africa. Did I get it right? And you guys went over and you started recording music for people who couldn't afford it or couldn't set it up for themselves, and then kind of handing them the finished product.
Yeah, so that's kind of our sort of our end state goal is to get to that place. We knew there were tons of young people that just had a passion for music. They really wanted to get their stuff out there, but there's not a lot of opportunity, not a lot of funds, and just the living. The level of poverty, it's just huge,
Bill, can I stop you real quick on that? Because I want, that's kind of what I'm envisioning is the poverty side of it. The stuff that you see on the TV that says, help out 30 cents, food, this and that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm envisioning, but you're saying the music side of it.
Yeah, so that's not exactly what I see when I go there. And of course, it's a big country, right? So just like the United States, you can't really put it all in one bucket or one 30-second ad. But Kampala, which is the biggest city in Uganda, and that's where I've spent most of my time, it's just enormous, just millions of people, and everybody just trying to kind of get a leg up. But they are pretty dedicated to Western culture, so they look to us and they say, this is kind of what we want to be like. This is what we want to emulate a little bit. And if you look at some of their TV shows and things like that, you can see that there too. And it's just when I went the first time, it was someone invited me to go and said, hey, I'm going with this big trip, and you'd be great to just let me just wind you up and let you go and play some concerts and things like that. So that's what we did. But then I just kept meeting all these people and learning a little bit more about the needs, learning about their passions and dreams. Went on a couple of TV shows and connected with some of those people that were interviewing me, and then just came to understand that there was just this yearning, like these young kids that just, they want to get into it. They want to play music. It's the same thing that was my dream, coming up. And so I tried to, but the needs there are there too, right? People don't have food, people don't have shelter, people don't have jobs. And so we've just tried to kind of connect some of those people together, right? The young people that want to have an opportunity to do something with their music, and then you've got people that have needs. So I thought, well, we could raise money in the U.S. We've got money here, right? Raise money in the U.S., and then these young people that want to do something, well, let's activate them. Let's start them by helping to feed the people in their very communities, visiting the people in their very communities. And then the goal is to get it to a point where, you put in your time with some of those humanitarian efforts, and then you get a shot to cut a record and make a video and get it on TV. And
now, have you always played Christian music? Or?
I've played all sorts of music over the years, and so no, the short answer is no. I've played all sorts of music, but I grew up in a pastor's family, and so my opportunities, from a young age were in a church, and I always connected with that style, and that's the my main body of work that I've written is Christian music.
Bill, what was the name of your first band? Can you share that with us? Do you remember some of them? Because I love the names of bands that people come out with.
I don't even know if I can remember. Yeah, because sometimes we would just have an opportunity to play, and then it was like, okay, well, let's come up with a band name, and then that's what we went with.
Three buddies down the street.
Yeah, right.
That's a good name that'd be good.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And so James, you somehow stumbled onto his music.
Oh yeah.
Somewhere, because you got a couple different videos I've seen on YouTube. So is that where you stumbled onto it?
Oh yeah, and then I had to get on a plane and get up to Snoqualmie in Seattle, or it's near Seattle in Washington. And I went with my wife, and it was unbelievable.
That was a secret trip.
Yeah, we kind of like an undercover trip because, you know, he was out of church. We were kind of stealing him away from a big church, you know. But there was just something in my heart that said, I feel like this guy, this is where you belong. And it was, you know, you don't even know all the workings. Sometimes it's just a step of faith. You just go out and ask.
And just do it.
And he had this huge band playing there, Ren Collective at his church that day. So he was hosting this church band, and then we're there, and it was obvious. It was so obvious. And he said yes. We met him and his wife in his home, and we prayed about it. And then he said, "Yeah, I'm ready to make the plunge and become a North County guy."
Yeah, this area didn't
culture
hurt.
shock.
Yeah.
The area here and the weather didn't hurt in the decision making process. I'll say that.
The inclement depression that exists constantly for some people who live in the Seattle area. I said, we can help you. Once you're making music like that, what you're supposed to do is you move to California where you get vitamin D, you know. So,
right?
Yeah.
And then you feel better.
Take your jacket off.
Yeah, it's a little.
Stay a little bit.
We cheat a little bit here. We just get constant vitamin D. But
wow,
yeah,
what an amazing story.
So, it is so good. And yeah.
So James, how long, so you told me a story before we started that you've been with Highlands since the inception.
Right.
So tell me that story.
So, I mean, literally the first day, before even it happened, my brother and I, we decided to go and start a church in a town we'd never been to. And, you know, I feel like life is too short not to do that. And I'm like, that's something people do. They start churches, you know? So we went, and I remember the only place I'd seen in Paso Robles was like the Black Oak Inn where I was staying. And I said, yes. I didn't even know there was anything more to it. I just thought it was the corner of that Mid-State Fair area. And so we came, and I remember we were talking about what is going to be the name of the church, right? So we came up with this list, and I found it one day, and one of the names that we came up with, which might have been a better name, was going to be a Chuck's Church. We just thought a church named, you know, what church do you go to? Chuck's Church.
Chuck's Church. Is that your brother's name?
No, it's just a guy. We just thought, like, everybody knows a guy named Chuck. And then you say, what church do you go to? You'd be like, I go to Chuck's Church down the street. So,
wow.
But, you know, we met at the movie theater, and I really wasn't pursuing a life in ministry. That really wasn't my heart. And it was really my brother's passion. And so I said, I'll help your dreams come true. And so we met in the movie theater, and people started coming to it, and it was fun to do. And then one day I met a dad after one of the services in that little lobby at the Park Cinema movie theater, and he says, thank you. And his son is about shoulder height, right? Teenager. Can't see his face, and the dad is looking at me, and he says, as he starts to cry, he says, we've been looking for a church home for 5 years. And in that moment, I said, this is something I could do for the rest of my life. Help people feel at home, right? To have that sense. And, you know, we've all had that, where there's been a place where we just go like, okay, I can land here, and this is a place I can call my family, right? Your tribe, if you will. So.
And that's. I mean, I can see it's very emotional for you. I mean, that's such an amazing story. I mean, you know, your brother was obviously the kind of the driver of this concept. And now you're steering the boat. Oh yeah, I had no idea. I went away to seminary. I had to say goodbye to it because I just wanted to try it out. Got married. My wife had a better job at Brentwood. She was a neurotech with Neurotopia from Templeton, and they were doing, you know, like a lot of plot lines here. They were doing neurofeedback on Red Bull athletes. Does that sound interesting? So they were like trying to study their brains to see how we can all live like a Red Bull athlete. And so I kind of followed her, and long and the short of it is I ended up back here. I had no idea. Wow, that's such an amazing story. And now look at Highlands. Oh, you know, unbelievable. I mean, you guys went from the Park Cinemas. Yeah. And now you have a big facility there. Honestly, it's not that big, which the cool thing is I think it's bigger in people's minds than they actually, you know, you go to, have you ever been to a taping of a show or something like that? And, you know, they're always just really small spaces. And, but it's so cool. We use that space. It's like half worship space, like Bill says, half of it's a shelter for people in cold weather. So like every Sunday and Monday now, we're on a rotation to have
people who are sleeping outside otherwise. There's not enough room in our shelters in Paso Robles. So Echo can't house everybody. So when it gets freezing, they go around collecting all the people and feeding them and staying with them all night and, helping them out. They watch shows and TV shows in there. So it's just cool to see a space that, like, you think I'm starting a church, but it's all these other things that happen, right? And then there's like a team that shows up on Wednesday and they distribute food to people who are basically in our town. They're new to our town and they don't have the paperwork, right? Or some of them are scared to go and, say, hey, I'm here and I need help. So we just kind of drop it off. We don't even know them. We work with the social service agency, but like you see piles of food going out. I mean, it is just a trip to see just, one thing after another, right? Day
so it's
after
not
day.
really like a job. It's like, I mean, it's like your house. It's your home. I mean, it's where you function.
Oh, and it's unbelievable. If you could see the stuff that happens, and I know that happens in all churches everywhere, but in your mind, right, you have this idea of what a church is, and then you actually see the workings of it. One day someone comes in and says, I'm going to get married, right? Maybe later on that day, someone says, our dearest loved one passed away and you're going to help us, walk through this really hard part in our life, right? That's the normal day. And it's awesome. It's awesome.
So James, you got Bill as a worship pastor.
Yeah.
So how many other like people are part of the organization with different, groups like this?
Oh, well, so the full-time staff is 4. And then there's a larger like part-time staff that are incredible. They're so awesome. And then there's hundreds. Like every single week, hundreds of people are volunteering in some different way.
That's what makes it go. It's the volunteers.
Hundreds of people. So our job is to just say yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on in here. Oh, give them keys, make sure that, encourage them and remind them why what they're doing is important, because it's so easy in our lives, right, to forget that what we do is something that's really valuable. Even someone who works at a restaurant might start to think, do I really matter, right? But it's so important to just help someone remember that, if someone comes into that space, they're wounded, they had a hard day, you just give them that last little lift, and guess what? You just bless them and you help them to get to another day, right?
Wow.
You help them be nicer to their kids, or, just have a break. So I think, that's our job, is just to be encouragers, right? And
No, it sounds like an awesome
lift
place.
people up, like what you do here. It's so valuable, right? What I was thinking about what you're doing is it's a common conversation. And I thought about that, just, walking into this conversation today. We have a common conversation, and that's so lacking in our world today, because there's so many different, conversations going on that everybody kind of has. Like, you have your little stream or feed of information. You have your stream or feed of information. Everybody's got different. In the old days, we'd all watch the Muppets on Sunday, right? You know what I mean? We had a common conversation.
Sure.
But it's so valuable when you have a connectivity in a community,
especially in this area.
This area,
there's so many different walks of life and so many different paths, and you say communications and channels. You got one big pond, and you got rivers running into all those this pond.
Yeah, so it's powerful.
It's awesome,
and it unites people and heals them.
So James, tell me when you came here, right? Okay, so you're like, all right, I'm making the step, I'm making the jump. We're heading. You're married at the time, right? And so your wife's like, we're going where? We're going to Paso Robles. Where is Paso Robles at?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you guys got the Google Maps or Google.
It's halfway between San Francisco and LA. Basically,
do you use that now?
Yeah, that's what I said at first. Yeah.
Drop dead right in the middle. Yep. You can't get any more in the middle.
The heart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was that conversation like? I mean, you're living in Seattle. This is a big city.
Yeah, sure. So it was. Yeah, I think my wife has known me long enough to just be expecting whatever. When I say, hey, we need to talk, she's like, all right, whatever. Let's just.
Are you going
talk.
to Africa now?
Let me start packing.
Yeah.
Do I need to pack? So we had talked about the possibility of headed in this direction, and but even when we left the East Coast and went to Seattle, our common kind of theme was, we're just going to like take a breath and just walk through the open doors, instead of focusing so much on like getting it all perfect. Let's just try to walk through some open doors and see what happens. Let's trust, let's have some faith, and let's walk through the open doors. And so we did that there. It prepared us, I think, in a lot of ways. And I met some wonderful people too, up in the just outside of Seattle where we lived, who are just such a part of. In fact, one of them in particular, I think maybe this song that we're talking about today doesn't get made without her encouragement. And so another door swung open, and we said, let's walk through it, and here we are. So.
And when you finally read the email.
Yeah. When I finally got back
what?
through and squinted a little more and saw it better. I could see the same heart that you can see in James just chatting with him right now, from the very beginning. And so I actually popped down here for a little visit, but not to, get on stage and play or anything like that, just to meet people, just to cruise through the area a little bit. I did a little bit more driving around than you did when you came to the area.
Yeah.
And
what was your first impression like when you came down here?
Well, I had seen a bunch of videos, because nowadays we've got the benefit of YouTube, and I had seen, realtors put up videos and different folks talking about the town, and it really matched that pretty well. So my first impression was just, it's beautiful, the weather's great, the people are incredibly friendly, which reminds me, I lived in North Carolina when I was on the East Coast, so that feeling of that kind of southern hospitality, that I was so used to there, I could feel that here too, and it made it a pretty easy choice.
What do you think of the personalities that are here versus like Seattle? I mean, the difference.
Yeah, they talk about, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but up there they talk about this thing called the Seattle freeze. I think people are just upset because it rains so much. But
probably, yeah.
Cold. Yeah, so you see
beautiful.
some of that, and that reminds me a little bit of the Northeast, but in the end, wonderful people there. And wonderful people here. And I think anytime you can sort of tap into that common idea of like, there are great people really everywhere. And if I try to focus on, being the best me that I can be, then I'll tend to stumble on those types of folks and meet them everywhere I go. And I think that's been true here, especially.
Awesome. So Bill, I'm gonna touch on your music.
Okay.
So you said that Uganda, you've been there a few times.
Yep.
And so what's that like? What's that process like? So you're going back there, and you told me a little bit, and I want you to say it again as far as like what you're offering to them versus what they're contributing to you. You know what I'm saying?
So that's good. I'm glad you said that, because when you go to Uganda, your focus when you're getting ready to go is all about like, what can I do for these people? How can I, make their lives better, and how can I touch them in some way? And then when you get there, you're like, oh man, these guys are pouring into me as much as or more than I'm pouring into them. And every time you come back, I remember the first time. So I've been twice. The first time I went, I'm on the plane on the way back, just like boohooing, thinking, oh my gosh, my life will never be the same after meeting these people, right? So when I went the second time, my brother went with me, and I was telling him, hey man, I'm the seasoned pro at this point. Look, your life's never going to be the same after this trip. And so then we go and we do it, and I'm back on the plane boohooing again. I'm like, my life has changed again. And that's how it works, because it kind of goes to my last answer. If you can go into every situation thinking more about just the beauty that's all around, then you end up being really the primary beneficiary of most of those conversations, trips. So you go with the intent to help people and maybe even fix people, save people, whatever it is, but you end up coming back realizing that you're the one that got the most help.
Yeah, you're the one that's getting that benefit more than you benefited into them.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, and it's I remember the first time I went, we came and did like a big worship night after I came back, and I remember looking out there. It was hype, it was a good night, but I remember thinking, man, these people in Uganda who had like nothing, they were way more out there with their energy and their passion. Like, where does that come from, And I think maybe that's the foundation for a song like Joy Like That, because we look for it in so many different places, but sometimes we find it in the most basic and foundational places.
So is there language English?
Yeah. So pretty much everyone. I have met some people there, and I think we have some photos too. I don't know if he was able to pull those in, but we do go to some remote villages, and we'll talk to people and pray with people. And there was this one particular lady who couldn't walk, couldn't stand up, and so I had an interpreter with me because she spoke. There it is. She spoke. The Luganda dialect, and couldn't speak English and couldn't stand up. And so we brought her food, and the girl to my right there that you can see is, she's translating for me, telling me what the lady's saying to me and telling her what I'm saying in return. And basically it's all gratitude. It's all, wow, oh, praise God for you. Thank you so much for coming here. And so in a place of such want and lack, she was able to find a peace, a hope, a light. And so, yeah, that was special.
That's some of the joy that we need to get a hold of, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Trying to fill our cups or our plates or as much as we can. And, that we could just find
strip
the
it
joy
down.
that happens.
Strip it down.
Doesn't have to do with any of those things.
That's right.
Wow.
Powerful.
So tell me about the nonprofit. Tell me tell me the purpose of this whole Uganda, with the music. And so, you guys are kind of both on that whole.
Well,
path, right?
it's in conversation, and that's pretty exciting to see, where it's going to head. The truth is Uganda's played into our church's life for years, for decades. We helped build teacher housing in Uganda. We've, and now that we see this synergy, this lining up, it's amazing. We've built teacher housing. We've helped build playgrounds in Uganda. We've bought Bibles for kids in Uganda. We've helped build community centers in Uganda. We've helped do all of these amazing things. Just
got to get on a plane next.
And now it's like, okay, this is yet again another connection to this incredible country. I actually think it's so great. One of the things I think is so great is not just for us to go, because I think sometimes those places seem abstracted. So if you can go, it's like, hey, wow, that's something that can happen, right? Mm-hmm. But then if you can, I've been working with the youth at the church. We have awesome 50 kids came out for the middle school, high school group, right? Just last Wednesday, and I turning to our Christmas dinner around the table, and I said to the kids, I said, where would you want to go if you went anywhere in the world to help other people? And you could see them start to think like, wait, we can do that. We can go to other places in the world, and if we can just help people along to help them realize that they can make an impact. It's not just the 30 cents. In fact, you can do so much using your creativity, traveling even. Could we do What's Up North County in Kampala someday? Would that be good? Like a on the road show? Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to talk to my producer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
That'd be
but
pretty,
just those things, you could say it, and it's possible. But Bill has more to say on that too. But I just think the sky's the limit. There's nowhere this can't.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we Move supports an orphanage that we work with, and then a community of elderly people, which is where that picture was from that we showed a few minutes ago. And those guys are more lacking in food. We're an organization really kind of in its infancy, and we're trying really hard to make sure that everything we do is intentional and that it has the most impact that it possibly can, because the needs are there. That's not hard to find. It's just a matter of connecting the right people, the right resources, and just having the most impact that we possibly can. But the kids, man, they've done covers of some of my songs, which that'll melt you into a puddle right there when you get a video of 50 orphans singing your song back at you. And
wow. Have you just ever been just like, wow?
Yeah, it's like, overwhelming. It's
to overwhelming. Where you're just like going, oh my gosh, you just uncovered the next big voice or the next big act or talent.
Man. There's so much talent. There's so much talent. Yeah, and we've got a lot of them that work with us all the time that are just they're mega talents, and their hearts are in the right place, and they're gonna do big things.
I know during COVID, a lot of the musicians did this whole collaboration, to where, you would send, the guitar of, whatever the song was, and somebody else would send, drums, from all different places. I think even Slash did this, during the COVID time because they couldn't perform. So they were doing this, what I forget, forget what they called that. It was something that everybody
like a montage of faces and voices.
Yeah, it was part of I forget the name, and they created the song. Whatever, Slash might be doing the guitar, and somebody might, famous as Toby Keith singing the whatever it may be, but that's almost something that you could do with them, some of your students, I guess, the kids that you meet back there, to collaborate and have some sort of like We Are the World, back in the day.
Sure, yeah, and we learned how to do it surely in COVID, because that's how we did it. We were all kind of homebound, and a lot of the videos on my channel that you'll see are some of those where we were kicking it around, and one was in one city, one was in another city, and we just kind of cobbled it all together. And
you can, the crazy thing is, Bill can pick up the phone and call him right now. That's just the world we live in, right? We could dial him up and get him on a video chat, and some of those guys could share how their day was going. And the world is so much smaller than it used to be. Bill, for example, took this song, you had it, and you flew to Nashville to record it. And I was so interested because some of the musicians that played on your song had some. Are you allowed to share like some of that backstory? It's okay if you can't. I like
no,
secrets,
it's fine.
it's fun on songs.
The guy that played bass on Joy Like That played bass on Taylor Swift's first 4 records.
What?
So
really?
There's so many and that's an honor. When you put together a song that you focused on, and then you bring together like heavyweights that just do it such justice.
Do you know who Taylor Swift is? By just
you ever heard of that?
No. I don't know. Wow, that's huge.
She's an up and comer.
So if any Swifties are out there, if you're a Swiftie, if you're an original Swiftie, we should say, listen to Joy Like That. You might be pretty stoked.
Sure.
Wow.
But
and so, obviously you have those connections. So, hopefully they help to, fuel this. This fire.
Oh, they're wonderful people. When the song came out, I think every player on that roster shared it on their Instagram and just said, "Hey, this is."
So who was the
enjoyed
producer?
playing on this one? Caleb Gilbreth produced it, and he's got a truly up and coming studio in Nashville. That's a special place, and
so cool.
So it's been a ride.
Well, like I was telling you the story. How I come across you and the song is I think the paper published something on it, and we kind of gather some information for our morning brew show here and stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. I'm reading it, and I clicked on it, and I went to your YouTube and I listened to it. And I'm literally watching it, and I'll get up in the morning and have coffee, especially now. I turn the tree on, it's all dark and quiet, and so I'm having coffee, and I'm watching. I have my headphones in, and I'm, watching the video and listening to the song, and I'm like doing this, going like that. And I'm like, why the heck am I tearing up?
Right?
And it's like you almost, and it's probably the whole meaning of the video. It's like you almost kind of get you kind of build some commentaries between, what's playing, the chaos in the house, the neighbor, looking across the street and, realizing, that was her, maybe years ago as the family grew up, so tell me a little bit behind this song that, man, we are so fortunate that you're going to play right here. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So the song itself, I told you I wrote it just in the one night and then played it the next day. And probably, we were talking a few minutes ago about how we've got to be more authentic and just kind of like put it out there. I was feeling a lot of that in that moment. It wasn't just me trying to make a song that would relate with all these struggling people out here. Like I struggle too. And it came from a place of that. And so I, played it throughout that season, but didn't record it. So much craziness was going on then. And a friend of mine, Cindy, who had heard me do it from the start, she just kept saying, Bill, this is a special song. You really need to record this song. You really need to record this song. And that was in the back of my mind for the entire year after. And then James and I were talking about Christmas and just preparing for the Christmas season this year. And, our conversation turned to that song because, like, if you're going to talk about anything in the Christmas season, why not talk about like a really truly felt need in the community? We have people sitting there in church every Sunday. You ask them how they are, they'll probably say, "Oh, great, fine." But we're not fine. We're not all fine. In fact, we can read our prayer cards sometimes after church and we think, man, this is what's on the minds of these people sitting out here, like, let's tap into that. Let's hit it head on. Let's let people know it's okay to not be okay.
And that we're not okay.
Yeah, we're not okay either.
We don't
have to hide this. We don't need
true.
to construct some crazy facade. And I said, let's wrap it around joy like that. And James, who is incredibly supportive and always jumps into anything with both feet, said, let's wrap the whole Christmas season around it. Let's raise money and give it away to people. Let's record the song. Let's do the music video. I'll adapt my sermons around it during the month of December and in the run up to Christmas Eve. And
wow.
I said, okay, I'll get on a plane.
See, you take an idea like that, which is just, you lived human experience, and then you start to think, okay, like, let's just see what the original Christmas story was, right? And it's a 14-year-old who is, engaged and then told that she's going to have a baby, not from the person she's engaged to. He decides to call off the engagement. She's runs over to the town of her cousin who's now having a baby, and her cousin is probably 60, 70 years, 80 years old, having a child. Her whole life has been made fun of for not being able to have kids, keeping that a secret because maybe she's worried that she's going to lose the pregnancy at some point along the way. So there's Joseph grieving, Mary grieving, Elizabeth grieving, all of these different people. And then, you have this moment where they have a baby, right? And then they take that baby and everybody has a dream, of what it's going to look like. And because obviously it seems the baby comes early, right? Like they didn't plan, everybody,
or
nothing happens.
Or at least Joseph forgot to get a hotel reservation or something like that.
Exactly, right? So then they have this moment where this baby, the only place, no one's going to give a space for them in the hotel. No one's going to give up their hotel room that they did get a reservation for, or at least they don't want it noisy, or they don't want the dirt or the mess or whatever. So they just send them out into the barn. And it's like, as much as we glamorize the Christmas story, it's stinky. Mm-hmm. It smelled bad. It was awful, but it was beautiful. And that's kind of what this song does. It reminds us that you're not all right, but actually in that space, Pink, who we talked about,
right
off camera, singing at the Pine Street Saloon, right, for her karaoke performance there. She actually mentioned a term in one of her conversations, beautiful trauma, right? That there's something beautiful in these broken moments that actually can end up bringing more joy and more hope and more life to other people's lives. So if you share your common story,
that's the critical point, though. You got to be honest about it, because when something happens to you and everybody wonders, why this happened to me, it's because you can connect with somebody later who's going through it, and you can make it easier for them. And so I think your question was more about the video. As we started to kind of pull those ideas together, for the video, what I didn't want to do, because it's you got 4.5 minutes to tell a story. And what I didn't want to do is show this family in turmoil, and then everything's wonderful at the end, right? So that's where we created the character of the lady across the street, because instead of, and you hit it on the head, it hit you just like it should. Instead of trying to force this 4.5 minute transformation, you're seeing the end state in the lady across the street. She's been there before. She's experienced that before, and she's learned how to kind of shuffle that stuff out of the way and focus on what really matters.
Right, what's more important.
And in the end, she's teaching them a little lesson and giving them a gift. And
anonymously. She doesn't even want them to know who it is.
Yeah, there's never any interaction between them other than her seeing, across the street. So,
and who was the producer for that video?
I guess me.
You did that whole thing too?
So I wrote the script for it and put it all together. But man, my actors, they were perfect.
I learned something about acting because I'm not an actor at all, but that video is done really well, and it makes us look like good actors. And so the other day, this occurred to me. Do you know what makes a really good actor? Great director. Great directors and great editors. I'll bet you 90% of these actors, they choose the right directors and the right editors. They look incredible, and the story flows.
He sells it
so
short.
he did a fantastic. He's an artist, really. I think this really speaks to his artistry. It's not just music. He's behind the camera and editing every last little bit of that thing. So.
Well, we shot it with
like Springsteen. You're like Springsteen.
2 GoPros. We shot
Really?
the whole thing with 2 GoPros, and just a great group of people that were bought into it, and you can see that.
I mean, it looks very professional.
It does, right?
I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like it's, Hollywood stuff.
Oh,
it
thanks.
was. I mean, it looked that good. Like I said, and just the combination of where music and the lines went through with the pictures and the videos that were playing. It was just like, maybe that's why it was so why it just like goes like this and goes, and just grabs you right in the
Because it's
middle.
real, right? It's almost like
100%. Oh yeah.
raw.
Anybody that has kids that grows up, especially in these days, life is so chaos. It's just chaos. As soon as you wake up, you're like, all right, chaos time, and you go to sleep, and especially with the kids, there's just so much, this way, that way, school, sports, family, just trying to, keep it all together is really what you're trying to do. Is you're just trying not to, jackknife the trailer and lose it, and,
Right.
and so just watching that and the lady watching that across the street, it was just like, wow, it's just like, I don't know. It's just kind of, I'm sure everybody gets a different, vision or, has the end, the
Right.
end result, type deal. But
I think the key, though, as far as being open and honest, because usually we try to button all that up before we go outside the doors of the house, right? We try to get it together and let everybody see us the way we want to be seen. Nobody ever makes a Facebook post with them in shambles, right? But the key is that the lady across the street can't help if she doesn't know what's happening. If she doesn't see somehow the struggle that's going on, there's nothing she can do to help. But because she's been exposed to that, because it's kind of leaked out the door a little bit, she can do more. And we have a vision and a passion for this area that says, look, if we're more open, if we're more honest, if we talk to each other more, imagine what we can do for each other.
so was that video all like the pictures and videos and the visual? Was that all filmed here?
Yeah, we shot it all in Paso in one day.
And then obviously that came after the song was written. And so then you kind of envisioned the story, the visual story for the video.
Right. Yeah, because it needed to be more, the song is an idea, and the video is an example of that idea, I think, is how I would put it together.
But now looking at your other videos, so this isn't your first one. You've done some other ones. You got was Heaven's Got My Back or
Yeah, Heaven Don't Back Down.
Heaven Don't Back Down. That was I was listening.
I Choose You.
I was listening to that one. They're all man, dude, you got a great voice.
Oh, thank you.
Holy
Thank you.
cow, that voice is just. Maybe that's probably why it's just so mesmerizing. And I can only imagine the worship time. The people just.
Oh, we go hard.
I bet, and I can only. It's like a stadium, probably. With the amount of people that they're just like they want more.
There's energy. Yeah, definitely.
But when you put that video together, did that kind of wrench in your chest too?
So for me, like I knew what it could be when I put it together, and so as you film it, it's a whole lot more academic, if you will. It's like, all right, now I need you, now turn your head this way. All right, now close the music box and slide it away. You're upset, and we're going through all that stuff. But as I'm editing it and sitting there and putting it together, that's when it started to hit me that like, oh man, this could be good.
There's
this,
motion.
This could really be
Yeah.
something that helps people.
So tell me about the actors in there. Where did they come from?
Okay, so it's cool. So James, of course, you've met him. He's the dad, and the purpose of the music box is it's my thought on the music box was it's probably something that was handed down to him, and he can't fix it, And as men, sometimes that's what we want to be able to do. We want to fix it,
Oh yeah.
but he can't fix it. And
How many things are not fixed around my house right now? Do you have that too? Is there like
Hopefully
3,
do you
10,
feel better?
20,
Everything.
100?
I have a whole garage full of stuff that I'm going to get to.
yeah.
Right.
You know.
That, I feel like
Yeah.
is that like the common conversation that we
Sure,
can have?
sure.
Like everybody admit
Yeah.
that like there's a baseboard they haven't painted.
Yeah.
Should have been done.
Right.
It just doesn't make
100%.
sense.
So he can't fix it, and he ends up just saying, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. And so he walks it out, places it in that box that we put there, and then that's the first exposure you get to the lady across the street. She sees that. She sees what happened. And apparently she's also a master at fixing music boxes. She's able to get that done.
Yeah.
But then as he comes in, you can see the kids starting to fight already, and he's just like, "Get me out of here! You know, I can't deal with this right now." And then we meet the mom, who's actually his wife, and she's trying to make cookies. She's burning them. She's trying to get the kids to stop fighting. They're breaking the angel. And the two kids actually are not their kids. They are their boyfriend and girlfriend, actually. So
Around town.
Yeah.
So we were kind of laughing and saying, if anybody saw these guys hanging out, they'd be like, those are the pastor's kids, and there's something going on in that house.
Yeah, something's not right. Yeah. So,
whatever.
He mentioned our team, and our team there that's kind of like on the ground all the time at work is James and me and Valerie and Sarah. And Sarah's son is the boy in the video, the teenage boy. And his girlfriend played the teenage
great.
girl, and they were
awesome.
great. They were just so helpful. It was fun shooting when we shot the scene of the angel breaking. That took some doing, but we got it done. And so you kind of see all these things start to break down one by one, and there's no connection between any of the characters. And that's what we used the second verse for, where you kind of see everybody on their phone, and then we just do a little 360 around everybody. Because we want to accentuate the fact that there's no connection. Like the answer to your problems, really, guys, is each other.
100%.
And you're just not seeing it. You know, you're not seeing it right now. So then,
I think that message, I mean, definitely, because like when you saw that, I mean, that I took exactly what you just said. That was what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Going, that's our society. That's
Right.
why we're
That's what we do.
Why we're like we are.
Yeah, that's what we do.
It's true.
Yep. And so then you kind of transition to the prep phase, where you've got the lady across the street who's actually his mother-in-law. And she did a beautiful job. I don't even think we shot anything twice with her. Everything was just perfect the first time. And so she's, fixing what's broken, not because that's where the joy is going to come from, but because that's the distraction that needs to be done away with so that they can see what's underneath. And I think you really see that in that last scene when they're opening up those presents together, and they're realizing, like, okay, like, maybe I could have just baked another batch of cookies, and maybe we could just buy another angel, and maybe we could just take this to a place and get the music box fixed. Maybe there's more to this whole season than that.
And I think that's what this season's about. Is about that compassion, family, love, and so. Bill, I think I'm ready.
All right.
I mean, James, are you ready?
Oh yeah. Born ready.
I think we're ready to hear this song. So tell me again the song. Tell me the name of it. Tell me, tell me how you came with it.
So it's called Joy Like That, and that's the focus. Is like, it's not just it's the kind of thing that you look at it and you know it when you see it, right? I want a joy like that, like that, like that. It's not necessarily something that jumps off the page at you all the time, but you know it when you see it, and you know it when you feel it. And for us as Christians, we find that the foundation of that joy is in Christ, because that's the whole point. The whole point was that as people, we're too messed up to get it right. We need to stop trying to be perfect, because we don't have to be. And there's only one source for that type of joy, and it's Christ, but it's available to everybody every day through every interaction, because that's exactly the role that was being played by the lady across the street in the video, and it is the source of the joy that you find all around the room at the end of the song too.
Wow. Well, let's get to it.
All right.
I'm excited.
Sure.
Move all this stuff on there. Here we go.
When the best of me is a little bit underwhelming, and the rest of me is a little better left unseen, does anybody know where I could go to find a little peace? I've been chasing down a dream that's dead and gone now. And I've been wasting all my days filling up the space. Does anybody know where I could go to find a little hope? Like a Christmas morning feeling in my soul, with a gift that's real enough for me to hold. When everything I had felt like enough to get me through, I could use a little joy like that, the kind I only get from you. There's a fear that fills the silence in the darkness. I need a fire in the night to find my way. Does anybody know where I could go to find a little light? Like a Christmas morning feeling in my soul, with a gift that's real enough for me to hold. When everything I had felt like enough to get me through, I could use a little joy like that, the kind I only get from you. And when I'm weak, you restore me. When I'm lost, you're coming for me. You're coming for me. Like a Christmas morning feeling in my soul, with a gift that's real enough for me to hold. You remind me that you'll always be enough to get me through. I could use a little joy like that. I could use a little joy, like a Christmas morning feeling in my soul, with a gift that's real enough for me to hold. You remind me that you'll always be enough to get me through. I could use a little joy like that, the kind I only get from you. I could use a little joy like that, the kind I only get from you.
Wow, man.
Thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, sure thing.
That is just, I mean, trying to be, just trying to keep it under wraps here.
Well, you guys, this is an exclusive, right? This is the first time he's playing it live on, out there in the ether, and it's awesome, man.
Golly, man. I'm speechless,
Yeah.
man. That's
You're
so
such a good
beautiful.
songwriter.
Such
Oh,
a
thank
it's
you.
beautiful. It sounds amazing, and you just sit there, like I said, you just think, as the words are going through, because music is a story, right?
Yeah.
And as you probably most music.
If it's done right, yeah.
Most music is a story, and that's a story that you start from the beginning and you build it, and you can hear it through it.
It's actually called narrative transportation.
Yeah.
Where you actually hear somebody else's story, you hear someone telling a story, and then you're actually able to process stuff going on in your life better by listening to someone else's story, and you actually get carried. When you go to a movie and you find yourself crying and identifying with the character, there's actually kind of a therapy that happens as you just get taken on that journey. And I think that this song does a good job of that.
Wow.
So cool. Transportation, right?
Total.
Yeah.
Total. And there's a purpose of the song. There's a purpose in what you guys are doing with the song. So tell me about that.
Right. So we're giving it all away. That's the most fun part.
So every single stream, that just is another donation to kids in our county who are in crisis, to the food distribution that we do, to keep the doors open for another day, for the shelter for the unhoused. Just every little thing and that's the best thing, honestly, when you're thinking about a church. 100%, like 100% of everything. Nothing goes into administration or anything like that. It just goes straight out there into the ministry. It's crazy. It's the most holistic organization. I've going into it from the beginning, I kind of thought, what is this thing called church? I've learned that it's the most radical organization that I can possibly think of, where there's some organizations will say, hey, we'll help out with, animal rescue, right? God bless them. Or we're going to help out with, unhoused people. God bless them, each one of those organizations. This actually is an organization that hopes to help people along from the day they're born all the way through the whole entire of their life, to be there as a rock, right? Any day for 100 years of your life or whatever you live. And that you could go, you can knock on that door, you can get a little help. We help people get counseling. We help. It's just unending.
And this will be
radical. It's radical.
And this will help all of that. So if there's any kind of call to action for the folks that you have out there listening, if you stream the song, it's available anywhere where you would get music: Spotify, iTunes, Apple, all that stuff. That's going to be 100% of that, of anything we earn goes back into the mission. If you see the video, so share it. That's our main thing.
Is that how it gets compensated? I mean, because obviously
royalties.
It's free.
Yeah. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if you're streaming it, then the royalties will come in, and those will be 100%. So it doesn't cost the listener anything, which is really cool. You get to view it and listen to it on whatever platform
get it out there, so the more people are sharing it.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think the cool thing is it's grassroots. No one's trying to count or. The grassroots nature of it is anybody can bring a gift across the street to their neighbor. And honestly, the lady across the street has no idea what a transformation that gift is happening on the inside of the home. She's just kind of like seeing a felt need. She thinks that this is going to help a little bit. How many times have we made cookies for a neighbor and thought, oh, that's not really that big a deal? But little do we know, someone opens the door and it transforms the space. And I think we underestimate the small acts that we can do for other people. So
you don't know what they're dealing with.
Yeah,
so that's the other part of it.
Neighbor, get out there.
We can raise funds when people stream it, listen to it, share it, and all that stuff. But what we really hope is that people will look at that, especially the video, and say, I can be that lady. I could be that lady, because there's just it doesn't take much. It took her an afternoon and some simple stuff and not a lot of money.
How long ago did you come out with the video? How long did you come out?
It came out December 1st.
So here,
just
15 days ago.
Right, and so the nature of a Christmas type song is it's got a pretty short time frame that it's kind of on people's minds. People don't listen to Christmas music that much outside of the November-December time frame. And so we're already talking about ideas for next year, like how can we take it to the next level and do more with it and help more people, and maybe get a challenge going where people are actually out there doing these acts and capturing them and sharing them.
We could just start it right now. I mean, why wait till next year?
Right?
So my mom gave me a bag of cookies. I go to her house. She keeps giving me cookies and stuff. I don't know. She doesn't understand, But she figured it out, because she gave me a bag of cookies. She said, give this to your neighbor, right? Take it across the street to your neighbor, and just don't tell them who gave it to them. There's a little cookie, a little plant inside. And then she handed me the white bag, and she said, hold on a sec. She took it back, and she took her pen, and she wrote on the bag, joy like that. I was like, oh, this is it. This is it, right? So I actually think there's so much power in that if people have no idea it comes from the song at all, if it just comes from the Spirit, and people are out there just, and it's so simple. Just later today, when you're at the store, just go shopping for yourself and go shopping for one other person. Like that pack of cookies or whatever, that little flower that you think would be nice on your shelf, just buy 2 of them, or just buy 1 and give it away. And just,
Well, Well, I think what
Yeah.
you said something there, and kind of, as far as like the joy like that. I mean, this song is, like I said, is phenomenal.
Right.
It's amazing. It's super emotional in your own way. It could be emotional in different ways. Different 5 different people will receive it a different way. But as far as like you said, an act of kindness, bag of cookies,
So
the
easy.
gift. It's anonymous.
Right.
It's like it. Then it makes, instead of saying, "Hey, this is from Joe,"
Yeah,
hey,
right, yeah.
it's from me. It's from me. You take that out of there, and then it's almost like that receiving person is like, "Who'd this come from? Who
Yeah.
thinks of me that much to give me this, or make me these cookies, or leave this on my porch?"
Yeah.
And it's just like, then it kind of, like you said, changes your mindset. It changes your mindset, takes you out of, we don't know what people are dealing with.
Well, and
Changes the world.
I think the good thing too about kind of theming it into a song is that it's helped people just at our church and in the surrounding area to give that message to somebody when they don't necessarily know how to say it themselves. And we actually did a short run of CDs even. And
CDs.
Yeah,
Right.
so let me just.
Such a good idea.
It's this round thing, and it's shiny on
Put it
shiny
in
on
there,
one side.
They're the new records.
You put it in shiny side down. But the only reason I did it is because people were saying, "Oh, what about CDs? What about CDs?" And I was like, "Okay." So we made some CDs, and what we found is that I've been spending Sundays after church, signing these things,
So it's almost like the picture.
and people are taking them and they're saying, "Hey, I want 4. Make one out to Eddie. Make one out to Sue. Make one out to," because they know that there is somebody in their life that needs to hear this. And so we did print a little QR code on the back of it in case Eddie or Sue or somebody doesn't know what a CD is. They could just snap that tag and stream the song instead.
That's funny.
But people are we don't. I guess my point in saying that is we're not just trying to like spur people into action. They want to do that anyway, but maybe they don't always know what to say. And I think Joy Like That gives them a way to.
And it's so simple. There's a guy at our church named Bob, and he just had an idea years ago. What if we bring burritos to all the
Bob.
people who live in the riverbed, right? That was his idea. And they've done that now every single Saturday, a crew of them. And we call him Burrito Bob now. But through it, they were really afraid, some of the people who live there, and now they're all friends. Anytime that they need, they call Bob or they call his friend Aurora, and they ask for help. And now they know all their names. So all the guys and gals who live down there, they have a source of support and encouragement. And just all it started with was him just bringing a burrito.
That's Joy Like That right there.
Wow.
That's it.
So simple. So we can do that, right?
Very cool.
We can do cool things.
Very cool. Guys, I'm going to wrap this up because
All
we
right.
could sit here and talk all day long. I kid you not. This is just so, and this isn't going to be the last time you guys are going to be on here.
Oh,
We
love to come
definitely
back.
want you guys to come
Thank
back
you.
in.
Would love to.
Maybe after the holidays and see how this was received. I
Yeah.
want to go check out Highlands. You know, I mean, like I said, I know a lot of my friends go there. You always see Highlands. Highlands is doing this. They're doing great stuff for the community. So we appreciate that. Thank you for that. So, Bill, how does somebody, once again, help to contribute to this song and this path that you guys are on?
So probably the easiest thing they can do is they could actually just go to joylikethat.com, and there you'll find the video. You'll find a cool little behind the scenes video we did. The young lady broke her phone when they did
During
the
the
angel
taping.
scene.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
So she was showing that off, and that was fun. So we have some little things like that, and then we also have a giving link where people can, if they want to, they can give money directly, or they could just basically say, "Hey, I see this and I connect with this and I want to do something to help." So we have lots of avenues for that, and that's probably the easiest way to do it. Just go to joylikethat.com, check it out, and see what you can do to help.
Awesome. And James, tell me how people find you.
Oh, same way. Just go to joylikethat.com. And
We got all our Christmas Eve gatherings up there and
yeah,
everything.
and
So
I just live by divine appointments. So the chances are I'm going to bounce into you in the store, and we're just going to I just always leave a little room on my calendar to hang out with people, because I think sometimes we overschedule ourselves. So anytime they can just call Highlands Church, and I'll sit in a chair and hang out with anybody. I'll take them across the street to Cider Creek Bakery and across
you
the
go.
parking lot. We basically share the same spot as Cider Creek Bakery, and it's just cool. I'm up for a hang anytime. And people think, oh, I need to only go and say hi when I'm in crisis or when something terrible. No, come and say hi for any reason. It's just a good
Come on
place.
over and check out the church.
Yeah, come over to check out the church.
Get a little walkthrough, see the behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
right.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We'll give you some red vines. That's another story. But
That's another day right there.
Awesome. Well, Bill,
figure out why.
thank you so much.
Hey, man,
I really
appreciate you.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
James,
thank you
I really
so much.
appreciate you guys.
We love what you guys do.
Man, the story is amazing. The music is amazing. You know, the facility, the church that you got up there that you guys are doing is amazing.
Yeah.
And like I
Thank
said,
you.
the combination, I mean, it's like, this is the 1-2 punch right here.
Well, and by the way, there was someone in our community who did something very similar to this years ago, and his name's of all names, Steve Martin.
Oh.
He was mayor of Paso Robles. He passed away last year, but honored and loved and appreciated for his continued work to highlight and bring to bring to the surface different community people, and he had a thing called I can't remember what it was, like
Voice of Paso.
Voice of Paso.
Yep.
And I just think, thank you for carrying on that legacy.
Yeah.
And it may feel like small acts, but I think what you'll discover is you'll have a full heart.
Oh, well, you appreciate it.
Yeah.
And like I said, if we can bring more, information like this from the backside to the front side and in the light, that's what
Yeah.
we're here for.
Awesome.
So we appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, guys. Hey, make sure you guys check out this song because this song is amazing. We're going to have it on our Facebook page. We'll have this on Spotify as well. So please check out this song. All the proceeds go towards something very, very special. And Paso, Templeton, Tascadero, go check out Highlands Church. Trust me, you want to go see James because this is an amazing. You get James and Bill there in one day, and you can't put any money towards that. It's just the time that you're going to spend there. Enjoy this beautiful place. But as always, guys, we can't do this without you and our sponsors. We'd like to thank Escalar Wines, Wine Travelers Hideaway, Rancho Sestero Meat Cutting, Visit Tascadero, 805 Customs, El Red Rooster, Pacific 805 Spas, 5-Star Rain Gutters, Airflow Filter Services, Story Termite and Pest Control, Borhone Auto Center, and Kennedy Club Fitness, guys. Thanks again. Have a great holiday season.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go!
Hi, welcome to Kennedy Club Fitness, where we have something for everyone. We have weights, cardio, group exercise classes, racquetball, basketball, swimming, and pickleball coming soon. Here at Kennedy, we're committed to health, wellness, and community. Stop by any of our 4 locations, Paso Robles, Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, and Arroyo Grande, or check out our website at kennedyclubs.com.
We don't just serve it up, we roast it, distill it, brew it, craft it, crank it, bake it, make it, perfect it, cure it, paint it, live it, breathe it, and then we serve it up, all in a Atascadero.
Hi, this is Dave Story, small game hunter with Story Termite and Pest. We're a full-service termite and pest control company. From rodents to termites, we can take care of all your pest control needs. Call today, we can tailor a pest control program that will meet your needs and budget. Contact us at 805-460-0650 or at storytermite.com. Remember, we don't have customers, we have friends.